All right, welcome back. Episode 20, checking in.
What's up, guys?
Sup, dude?
What's up, dude?
Yo, dude.
Bro.
Me and my friends just say yo, dude, all the time.
Yeah.
It's quite nostalgic for me.
Gotcha.
Do you remember calling my friends that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude. That's what we say.
My boy Pinky Dayton, named after the best character in the Friday series.
Who's Pinky?
He's the record store owner, and he like comes up on him when he thinks they're like breaking into the store. It's in Next Friday.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
You're
I'm a
classic.
Friday originalist. My grandmama gave me that chain.
Friday is good, but I feel like Next Friday is better.
I don't know. I mean, I like who's that? Mike Epps. I like him, but I'm a fucking Tucker guy. Like,
Yeah.
Smokey was obviously the best person in that franchise.
For everything that Mike Epps has done, I feel like I remember him the most in I think he's in Resident Evil.
Yeah.
And he like hits a zombie while he's driving a car and he's like, GTA, motherfucker. That's my favorite Mike Epps line.
I've never seen any of the Resident Evils.
I mean, it's fun.
Add that to my Fast and Furious.
I'm just like all going down like all these black movies that I watched as a kid, and I'm like, oh, by the way, the white dude from Blade died.
White dude from Blade?
Chris Christopherson is
Oh,
that his name?
yeah.
He's in line
How do you
to
know
heaven.
Chris Christopherson is the white guy from Blade? He's like one of the
Because that's how I saw the article on social media. It was just like this fucking
white guy from Blade dies.
Yeah, pretty much.
First of all, the white guy from Blade, I feel like would be Steven Dorff. Like you know, Chris Christopherson isn't the first guy I think of when I think of the white guy from Blade.
Isn't he the dude? Chris Christopherson isn't like the weapons man, Blade's weapons man.
Yeah, but like
he's
the
like
main
Blade's Alfred.
The main bad guy though in the original Blade was Steven Dorff.
Yeah, but he's a bad guy. He's not a fucking.
All right, well, whatever. But yeah, Chris Christopherson though, he's fucking. You know, have you ever listened to like Chris Christopherson, like music wise?
No.
He's good. He's one of like the outlaw countrymen, like him and Waylon and fucking Merle Haggard and shit. And
I don't know about these guys.
oh, all right. Well,
I'll have to go on a deep dive in my airport drives.
I'm not into country music really, but like I like that era of country music, like Willie Nelson, Merle
Like the
Haggard,
Outlaws.
fucking the outlaw country is what they call it.
I like that shit.
Waylon Jennings, yeah.
Are these people you like sent me a song when we first started talking about this, and we were like thinking about having like an intro
Yeah,
music?
No, that was Warren Zevon.
Warren Zevon, that's his name.
Well, yeah, you ever hear the fucking song?
I heard the song that you sent me.
Well, Werewolves in London, like
I don't think so.
Never
I
heard-
probably heard it. I just don't know the name.
anyway, that's Warren Zevon. But the song I sent you was "Lawyers, Guns, and Money."
Yeah,
It's a great song. Yeah.
How about speaking of crazy movies and like weird stuff? I don't know what just made me think of it. Maybe the werewolves or something. But have you ever seen this terrible movie called Project Metal Beast?
No.
Wow.
It sounds awesome though.
Yeah. So I'll throw. You're always throwing the zingers at me, like, oh, you haven't seen this, you haven't seen this, and I'm like, bro,
I'm sorry, I haven't seen Project Metal Beast. Yeah.
I want to say it's like this. There's like a secret like government operation going on where they're like trying to harness the power of werewolves. Like werewolves actually exist.
Yeah.
And they like inject like werewolf blood into like a Green Beret or some shit. And it just, the experiment like breaks containment.
Yeah.
And how the whole thing comes to like fruit. It's basically like this, like, you know, it's like the staff, you know what I mean? That's being like hunted by Project Metal Beast.
Yeah.
And like one of the guys collects old US coins. And so they get all this guy's coins and they melt it down into this
silver?
big bullet.
Yeah.
And they fucking shoot Project Metal Beast.
There you go. I mean, that's just solid writing right there.
I feel like you got to watch Blade and like Project Metal Beast should be like a
like they
villain
go side
that
by
shows
side.
up. Yeah. Well, I remember I watched it. I saw it after like Tales from the Crypt.
Yeah.
Like, that's
like
the era.
Billy Zane Tales from the Crypt. That one.
Like that one that was on HBO late night.
Yeah, well, that's the one where like the devil comes or whatever to like, and they're in like they're trapped in like the little house. The Demon Knight one, I think it's called.
No, it's not a movie. This is like a TV series.
Oh
I think,
yeah,
that was
okay,
on.
the actual Tales from the Crypt show. Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. Yeah,
And then like there would always be some fucking crazy movie that would come on afterwards.
yeah, okay.
It's always stuck with me.
Yeah.
I watched it one time.
I'm like a connoisseur of shitty movies. I love shitty movies. There's a movie called if anybody out there wants to see like, well, actually, have you ever seen the movie The Room?
No.
So The Room is like hilariously terrible, but it's like they actually made a movie about the making of the movie called The Disaster Artist, which was good too. It had James Franco in it. But it's like it's just known as the worst movie ever, and it's fucking hilarious. But another one that is like, to me, my favorite bad movie of all time is this movie called Fateful Findings. It's this like dude like who, I don't know, he's probably like some sort of like West Coast like realtor or something like that. Like some dude who just financed this movie himself. And it is so fucking hilariously bad that it's like, it's all time for me. If you need a laugh, find Fate. First of all, you can't find it anywhere. Like you have to, I watched it on Pornhub. Like that's where, yeah. So you have to like have like an in, like know where like the fucking these movies like are actually located on the internet. But holy fucking shit, dude! It's the funniest movie I've ever seen in my life.
It's like one of those like this video has been disabled, and you're like, what the fuck?
Like literally, you cannot find it anywhere because it's been like demonetized. Like that's how fucking terrible
you're like,
it is.
I've had this internet tab open since 2013. If you close it, we can't play
gone
Angry
forever.
Birds anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over.
Yeah.
That's
So,
hilarious.
Anybody out there who's in the middle of jerking off right now and wants to find a good movie, look for Fateful Findings.
Man, I couldn't imagine a worser fate than having a multitask jerking off and listen to us at the same time.
I mean, it's, dude, people are into all sorts of weird shit.
Man.
So, yeah. Anyway. So what's new with you?
Well, I don't know. I heard I'm about to get educated on the eradication of the tipped employee over here.
Well, yeah. Massachusetts on the next fucking election is going to have question 5 on the docket, which is all about it's that fucking Trojan horse living wage bullshit where they're trying to tell you like, oh no, this is for the betterment of like the restaurant business. And it's like, this is going to fucking ruin everything. So basically though, what it is, it's that West Coast, like I think Connecticut did it too. There's a couple states that have done it, but they're implementing that like, well, you have to pay your fucking employees a quote unquote fair wage. And what it'll end up doing is completely tank the fucking restaurant business in general, and a bunch of places are gonna have to close because they're not gonna be able to afford to stay open at those fucking by paying their every server they have $15 an hour. And on top of that, I don't think it'll ruin everything immediately, but I think in the next like 10 years, what you'll take like what is a sustainable middle class job and turn it into like, yet another job that like fucking 19-year-old idiots do, and that's it. And everybody's going to wonder what happened to good service, and it's like, well, you can draw a straight line from the moment you got rid of tipping to the fucking shitty moron who's ordering or delivering your food right now.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I don't give a fuck because I think it'll limp along long enough where I can get out of it. Like, I think 40 to 50-year-olds, I'd rather be 50 right now. I'd feel more comfortable then, but even at 40, like I'm probably still safe because you're gonna have like a few years where, I think it's not gonna pass this time, but it will pass soon. And when it does pass, I think even then you'll have a few more years of kind of double dipping, where maybe you will be making more money because you're gonna be getting like the elevated pay, but you'll still have that like built-in like habitual shit where people are still gonna be tipping. But I mean that next generation, like to all the 25-year-olds out there right now, like, get out while you can. Like it's coming to an end. Like it's just not gonna be there for you when you get to be my age. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, how many people are really in this thinking
that they're gonna be in it for the next 15, 20 years? I don't know. I mean, it was probably around 25 where I kind of started to look around and be like, well, I guess this is it for me. I feel like 25 is the moment where usually you have to have that like shit or get off the pot moment in your hospitality career where it's like, am I doing this for the next 20 years or am I trying to do something else? Because if I'm trying to do something else, I got to do it now,
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people too just end up kind of just limping along and then one day wake up and they're 38 and they're like, well, I guess this is what I'm doing,
Yeah.
So just kind of what I did.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think I've ever had that realization of like, well, I guess this is it.
You're like, did you just turn 40?
I'm 40.
Yeah. So you didn't have that moment where you're like, I guess this is it.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm not like looking at it like the only thing I feel like I've foregone is student loan debt.
Yeah.
And like a bunch of memories with my family.
Yeah.
Like I do regret like that when my grandfather was still alive, there would always kind of be like a boys' retreat. And I could never get the time off. But it's like I never tried to get the time off because it wasn't – I just thought everybody was going to live forever. You know what I mean? I wasn't mature enough in my life to like realize what was really important. So, yeah, like I have missed out on that. But to me, it's like I'm just like, find me another job where I can do what I do and make better money.
Oh yeah, well you
Like,
can't. That's another
the
thing
only-
too, is they've eliminated the middle class. And like I said, this is probably one of the last vestiges of the middle class that they're going to absolutely fucking bulldoze. I feel like nowadays you can't find anybody who makes $55 an hour. You either make 32 and you're barely fucking scraping by raising a family, or you're making 210 and you're taking your family to fucking the Bahamas every goddamn year. You know, like find me a career where you're just making $110,000 a year, like across the board. It's like you can't find those things anywhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not looking. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I don't know. What
I'm just saying, like they're just killing the middle class in general.
I mean, I do think like I look at all of the time, effort, and energy that my wife has invested in her education, and it's like I think maybe now, like that's great. I don't even know how much money my wife makes a year. That's how fucking crazy. But I
It's
think,
out of touch you are.
yeah, like I think now maybe she comfortably makes more than me,
Yeah.
but I don't think she does. You know, so it's still like I could have been on this fucking 10, 12-year journey of fucking doing all this extra work. I don't know, I guess living a 9-to-5 life. I don't know, hating everybody that I fucking work with. Like,
I'm not saying.
I don't know. All at the end of the day, to be at the same point of where my spouse was, where he's basically been doing something that he doesn't really enjoy. But at the end of the day, I think I'd be way more miserable working in a fucking office,
Yeah.
like just clocking in, waiting for this shit to go by. Like at least you're kind of like getting lost in the labor
Yeah.
of doing all of this. Like on a busy night, you look up and you're like, oh shit, it's almost time to go home.
Yeah.
Like I don't find myself too often like, God, I just gotta, you know, like,
Yeah.
you're like waiting for it to get busy, and then by the time it gets busy, it's like, all right, you're closing down, you're trying to get out of there.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't regret doing this. I mean, in exactly what you said, like my other path would have been to be a fucking English teacher or something where I would be making less money. I'd be miserable, and sure, I'd have summers off, but what fucking good will that do me when I don't have any money to spend like on the shit that I want to do with my family anyway? All I'm saying though is, like in terms of like you eventually did have to come to the realization though that like, okay, this is my career. Whether or not that was kind of like a decision you made right off the rip, or like me, I was just kind of like left with no other option, you know? Like I didn't really even bother trying to explore anything else. And then after a while I was like, well, whatever, I make good money, so I guess this is what I am. I'm a bartender, you know?
Yeah,
I'm not saying I regret it. I mean, sure, there are a lot of things that like I missed out on that I would have liked to have been around for more. You know, I still feel it even today, working 5 nights a week. Like there are certain things that like I would like to be around with my kids more, but that is what it is. You know, it's better than fucking, you know, living in a goddamn apartment with 3 kids and trying to fucking scrape by on $18 an hour.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah. So basically, though, I just think this is like one of the last industries where you're able to kind of like, without a college education, make like a good, well, without a college education or a vocation like of some sort in the trades or whatever, to make a living though, without all of that shit.
Yeah, but
and they're taking that away. I think.
feel like this is a trade though. Like I'm not trying to toot our own horn at all.
Well, I
We're
just
not
mean like we
fucking-
don't need like a fucking license. I mean, or whatever. If you want to call the serve tips shit a license, fine. But I'm talking like you had to go to trade school to learn a trade,
Yeah.
or you had to be an apprentice for a number of years. I'm just
But
saying,
we
like,
did all that. We did all that like on the fly. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like this is a learned skill. There is like a dance that you got to
Yeah.
know to handle business. You
Yeah.
know, like there is an art to it. It's
Right.
not just like a fucking robot.
well,
like-
yeah. Well, I'm just saying, like, it's fucking, you know, it's all I'm saying is it's not a fucking actual considered trade. We're not in a union. Well, I mean, you're in a union actually at
Yeah.
the airport, but for the most part, you're not in the union in the
Yeah,
hospitality
like
business.
the whole time that we've been talking about this, I have been thinking like, but because I'm like, oh, like we have the union in our back pocket. Like, what if this comes to fruition and we're just like, nah, fuck you. Like we're still taking our $5 an hour. We're getting tips. Like,
yeah.
I don't know what that would come to.
Well, I
but-
think, it's going to be it's going to be a statewide thing, so they're
Yeah.
going to have to kind of abide
And
by it.
also, I think that kind of it would be to your thing on the double dipping. I think it would be like the last horizon, if you will, of it was like, yeah, you're gonna pay us 15, you're gonna give us the minimum wage, and we're still gonna keep getting tips.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Yeah.
So
Which, like I said, will
And-
be cool for like 5 to 10 years, but then after that, it'll be over because then you'll have the whole next generation coming up in in a climate where you don't have to tip. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it would end up being like the death knell of the business.
I don't know. I just think
Or I should say it'll continue on and just be worse, you know?
it just depends. Like I looked it up before we started talking about this. So the minimum wage in Rhode Island is $14.
Yeah.
Right. So you're taking quite a considerable, and you're taking like a 75% increase in front of the house labor essentially
Oh, yeah.
by paying everybody
Yeah.
that. But if you kind of look at it at like the volume of like a busy night, right? It's like drinks are like $16 now.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right, so I had to sell one espresso martini to pay my one server for this hour. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you're busy enough, it's like, it's still gonna be a money making business at the end of the day. 'Cause
Yeah.
cost of goods keeps coming up, and like cost of like paying your employees doesn't really seem to be getting matched. You
Well,
know,
I
like,
think at that point,
what's the entry level for a line cook right now?
that's probably around that, like 16, 17, 18.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
What?
Like
Like in terms of low or, yeah.
low, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I.
Well,
like,
entry level. I bet you like the more experienced line cooks could probably command 20, 22. And also, there are businesses that straight up just don't know how to pay their employees, probably pay them 24, 26. But
yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're trying to get that shit out as cheaply as possible.
Like I know entry level cook at the airport is like $20.
Yeah.
And if you work the morning shift, you get a $4 boost. Like
Yeah.
if you clock in before or at 4:30, it's called like a pre-dawn shift. You
Yeah.
get an extra $4 an hour. So like
Nice.
you could make $24 an hour just making fucking omelets out of a fucking carton of eggs.
Yeah. Shit, I might be doing that soon.
You know what I mean? Like if somebody's fucking working like a pantry window for like $18 an hour,
Oh, they are. Yeah.
that's crazy. When at the airport you could be doing that.
Well, I think
instead. But
that's-
still $18 an hour, and then the government's taking money out of that shit
Yeah.
too. You ain't making shit.
Yeah.
I would never trade an hour of my life working in a kitchen for a
Right.
fucking espresso martini.
Yeah.
And that's like where it's at now.
Yeah.
Right? So even if you leave a good tip, if you buy a fucking $16, $18 cocktail at a high-end place and you give the guy $25, you just potentially worked 1.5 hours
Yeah.
in a
Well-
kitchen to like make that purchase for yourself. Like, what the fuck?
But that's just it. It is one of those things where if we're getting rid of fucking tipping here, if that's what this actually is, like the beginning of, you're not going to be paying your fucking bartender $15 an hour, $16 an hour. Like I don't know how much you expect to get, but like if I'm getting tipped or I'm getting paid on the books as like an hourly bartender, I want 60 all day. Like
Yeah.
at least $60 an hour.
And
Otherwise,
even
I'm not
that, I
fucking
feel like-
doing it.
Dude, $60 an hour means you go to work, what, 10 hours to make $600?
Yeah.
And you got to
Well, I'm just saying that's like my baseline. That's like you have
Yeah.
to give me at least that. Otherwise, this
a
is no
nightmare.
longer even fucking worth it to
that's
me.
that's a nightmare situation.
Yeah. But I'm telling you right now, they're not going to fucking just start off at $60 an hour because if they're paying fucking pantry guy 19, like you can bet your ass that fucking bartender is going to be getting paid 32. And at $32 an hour, I'm fucking out. Like fuck you.
Yeah.
I'm not doing that shit.
I feel like the future almost might be like if you do want good service, like it's going to be like in the hands of like the smaller business.
Sure, but
It's almost like
yeah.
you, me, and a cook open up a place, and it's like, yeah, like we're the owners,
Yeah.
like bringing in all the money and all the tips and everything like that, and that's the only way that you're able to sustain a high end. You know what I mean? Like, yo, you want me to fucking have a high end fat wash fucking shit on the menu? You want me to do all of this extracurricular activity?
Yeah,
Like,
I expect to get paid.
yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know how that's going to work, but like I said, I think we'll be able to hold on, but if I were a 23-year-old watching this shit coming down the pipe, I would start thinking real quick as to whether or not I can actually sustain this as my primary form of income for the next 10, 20 years.
I think that's like another thing we can loop into to kind of go industry heavy. It's like the abundance of asking for tips on everything now.
Yes. I mean, I fucking feel for the public, man. I fucking hate that shit. I don't understand it. Like, motherfucker, I want my bagel. Why do I have to give you fucking $4 for it? Like, you literally turned around and just put cream cheese on it and handed it to me. You know,
But that's also like,
where does this end?
if
You know,
you're-
am I tipping the fucking Verizon guy when he shows up at my house now? Like,
I feel like if I'm not sitting down and you're bringing me my food,
Yeah.
you don't have to fucking tip.
tip. Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I on one hand, like I understand, like, hey, if it's there to be gotten, get it. I understand that mentality, but I almost feel like that's not even the case though, because I don't know I don't think it's like driven by the employees there. You know what I mean? Like most of the time, it's all built into that swipe shit, like the iPad.
Yeah.
So it's like the businesses wanting me to give them the tip. You know what I mean?
And now
so it's like, are you paying this motherfucker $11 an hour or whatever? Are these people getting? What are they getting paid? Are they getting paid even? Like, are they, because they're a tipped employee now? Are they not eligible, or like they don't have to get paid minimum wage?
That's a good point,
Like,
right? Because people, I feel like
is that how they're getting around it at this point? Like, is everyone just getting paid $4 an hour?
No, there's no way.
I feel like I would have known about that if like the fucking Dunkin' Donuts drive-through girl is getting paid $4 an hour now. You know?
Because I feel like both of us have been pretty high up in like behind the scenes talks and stuff like that. And anytime you talk about like auto gratuity on large parties and stuff like that, it always gets brought back to this. Oh, we can't do that because of the stipulations on tipped and non-tipped.
Right.
And blah, blah, blah.
It'd be like different under like tax code. Like they would have to get taxed on that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm all about I mean, I've tried my best to eliminate going to Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, any of this fucking dog shit anyway. Like, I'm a love coffee, but I'd rather just brew it at my house at this point.
Yeah.
And be like, when I'll go back to like when I did do that. Like, I would tip my normal person that I go to see all the time, but it's because they would act as if they were like a bartender. They would see me walk in and get to work on the same order that I order all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, once I've
they would deserve that.
Yeah, like once I've built that rapport, here's the fucking 80 cents on, if it's $4.80 or $4.20 or whatever, here's the fucking 80 cents, 75 cents in the tip jar. If I got another $1, I'll throw it in there. You know? And also, I feel like that's kind of almost like, I don't know, some good luck charm that some fucking sailor does as he's heading out to sea. Yeah. I think if you do put it out there, it comes back to you in good ways. So I try to be generous in situations like that. But I don't think your normal Joe Schmo, I don't think he should be indebted or to be made to feel indebted that he should be tipping on Dunkin' Donuts, Wendy's, Starbucks, fucking, like you just said, going to the baseball game, like the concession stand and shit like that.
Yeah,
like,
I took the oldest to fucking Fenway, dude, and like every single one of them was like, flipped the thing around. It was like 10, 15, 20%. And they I'm a pretty smart dude, and I couldn't even figure out how to not even tip them that. So I was always just hitting 10%. But it's like, dude, if I'm not like going out to eat, or if I'm not like sitting down and you're coming to serve me, I'm not giving you a fucking tip, dude. Like, I'm not going to the front of the CVS line and tipping you on my fucking herpes medication. You know, like, fucking relax with this shit. You know,
I mean, I feel like it has been like customary for the concession stands and stuff like that to have like a tip bin out there.
Yeah.
But I just feel like it's because cash has gone away so hard that now this is becoming the thing, and it's like chill with the fucking exact math.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, here's a fucking. I don't know. Like, I always had cash on me to tip. Like, I try to do that. But
yeah. We're in cash businesses, though, so it's a little easier for us. But that's another thing, too, is like, it's the same shit as like the fucking, as the add $1 extra for like the children's charity or whatever. It's like, if I give you this tip on this fucking thing, that's going to be taxable income. So all I'm really doing is giving 30% of it right off the rip to fucking Uncle Sam. It's like, this isn't doing anything for us. Like, how about I just give you a 10 and for the rest of the day, you just like serve me my fucking food or give me a hot dog or give me a beer at the game without fucking breaking my balls, I fucking,
that's what I'm saying. It's just turning it into this, like, we've gone too far, I feel like, in the digital age. You know what I mean? It's
and that's just it. I think eventually public sentiment is going to get, it already has begun. Like, people are way more vocal today about not tipping than ever before, I feel like. So, I mean, it's only going to get worse. And whatever. And it'll eventually become a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you stop tipping, I'm looking forward to it because I'm going to laugh in all their faces. The day that they stop tipping and then they're fucking gluten intolerant, fucking sesame allergic, fucking onion not liking ass can go sit down at a restaurant and potentially die because the person who's serving him now is a fucking invalid who's getting paid $14.50 an hour to do it. So God bless.
You were like somebody who worked at Taco Bell for too long and we're like, all right, I can do this now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you'll basically just turn every bartender in America into like the guy who makes your burritos at Chipotle.
Yeah.
Which, I don't know, man. No, nothing against Chipotle, but, there's a different set of skill sets involved, I promise you. Yeah.
That just made me think, I worked with this girl, Betty, at Red Lobster back in the day. Yeah. And she was like so hardcore that she could take like a pan out of the oven with like no hot mitts.
You're just a fucking idiot at that point. Like,
Huh?
what, she thought she was fucking Wolverine?
Dude, I'm telling you, like she was like an older lady.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like older, like immigrant lady. Like I don't know what she did, fucking laying bricks or what, but
I mean, human skin just it burns at the same temperature. Like you're just
I don't know,
yeah.
man.
All
Should
right.
just be
I think
fucking-
you discovered a fucking X-Man is what you did.
Nah. I've seen a few people do this, man. They just have like wicked calloused hands. And then
I've wicked callous hands too, man. But you pick up something and
more than
yeah,
I don't know, man. She would touch you and you could feel it was like a rock.
yeah,
It was like she like looked. It was like a Medusa tried to get her and she looked away at the last second.
yeah.
And it started creeping in.
Fucking
But-
Stonehenge.
And then she got.
All
Then
right.
I think she got like fucking lupus, which is like. Then you're really sensitive to temperature.
Oh, really?
She like couldn't go in the walk-in. She couldn't be like the baker anymore.
Yeah.
Like. It's
What's the
sad.
shit that's like the circulation shit, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
First time I thought about this lady in like 20 years. I hope she's doing well.
It doesn't sound like she is.
Nah, she's gonna be doing fine.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, man. Florida got fucked up.
Oh yeah, the hurricane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
How's
guess
your old
it's more-
stomping grounds?
I guess everybody like out on like the islands in the Gulf.
Yeah.
Are like what took it the worst, which is like I guess to be expected.
Yeah.
It's like if you're gonna live down there, it's gonna.
Yeah, you just have to get used to fucking like
Yeah, roll the
rebuilding your
dice,
shit every
yeah.
couple of years.
It's like they make fun of us for like all the snow, but it's like all right, like we get snowed on like every season, but it's like you deal with all of that water at once, you know, like.
Yeah. I have family that live down in Cancun or whatever, and obviously they get hit with hurricanes all the time. But like, Cancun is like a peninsula. It's like a fucking, you have like the mainland and then it comes out and fucking up and around. It's like
That's
like
on
a little
the Gulf side of Mexico, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, Atlantic side, but like in that area of the Gulf, yeah. But so yeah, fucking every time they get hit with a hurricane, though, like literally the waters like touch, like they just it goes over the whole fucking island, and then when they recede, it's like massive damage. There's a fucking, you go to Isla Mujeres, it's like this little island off of Cancun or whatever, and it's like where all of like the locals live or whatever. And it's all just like tin shanties, like because they're just designed to be like, well, fuck it. When a strong wind blows this shit away, I could just rebuild it in
We'll
an
get
hour.
another shed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's rough. But I mean, at that point, you got to evacuate every time a storm comes through.
Oh yeah.
Or
Well,
I
that's
guess
why I would never go to Mexico during
have a
like the
boat.
fucking hurricane season, dude. Because
Yeah.
it's like, dude, it's martial law. Like all of a sudden, dudes rolling through with machine guns, and you're like, hope you're on my side. Like I don't know what's going on down here. Yeah.
You're like doing your best Triple X impersonation. You're like, the blood on that machete is real.
Yeah. Well, just saying.
That's a great way to loop it back to what we were talking about before. Triple X, that's a great garbage movie.
Oh yeah. Well,
Like it's supposed
yeah.
to be an action movie, but
Yeah.
it's like funny.
Yeah.
Like when they're gonna throw him in the jungle and he's like, I live for this shit.
I mean, really, if you want to break it down, the original Fast and the Furious is that movie too. I mean, I know you have a special part, like
Yeah.
place in your heart for it, but the guy says at one point in time, "I live my life a quarter of a mile at a time." It's like, who wrote that down without laughing their fucking ass off?
Somebody who fucks 15-year-olds.
Yeah. Yikes. Yeah. So
Dude, nothing ever calls me except for scams, I feel like.
I don't answer my phone for anything or anyone. I don't like talking on the phone. I don't get paid to talk on the phone.
Yeah, that's a big part of being friends with Brennan.
Yeah.
So text only.
Text only.
Don't call me.
I have my best friends. I haven't heard their voices in years,
Unless I see their face.
Yeah. I just don't have time.
Oh man. You know about Dikembe Mutombo dying?
Oh shit. No. Really?
Yeah. I guess he had brain cancer.
Oh fuck. I mean, that definitely makes sense.
No.
No. Yeah. That sucks. He
What's
was
his,
a
was he on the Rockets the 2 years that they won when Jordan played baseball?
That was still Olajuwon. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. He was on I think that was like his Nuggets era. That year they like upset the
Does he have
Sonics.
Does he have a title? No titles for Dikembe Mutombo?
I know he played in the NBA Finals for the Sixers against the Lakers.
Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. He
But,
was on that Allen Iverson team.
yeah.
Yeah.
But even then, that was like late career Mutombo. Was kind of a shell of himself at that point.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was him, Theo Ratliff, Eric Snow, Allen Iverson. That was a cool team. They were, yeah.
Dude, I still,
I'm glad Kobe got that title, but at the I would have liked to have seen AI get one.
yeah,
Is what it is.
I still can't believe fucking Kobe died in a helicopter crash.
I mean, yeah,
That's wild.
all to avoid fucking LA traffic.
That's fucking wild. There's a theory about that.
What is it now?
He
Is he
was like-
alive? What,
No,
yeah.
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish, bro.
Did Kobe Bryant die and then he cut his dick off and become Joy Behar? What's going on with Kobe?
I don't know who that lady is.
There's a lady on The View.
I was gonna guess that.
Yeah.
I was in the right vicinity. But no, I guess he was involved in like a lawsuit that was about to come to fruition, and it was like how some other kind of drug, maybe it was like ibuprofen or some other kind of pain killing thing that wasn't supposed to have opiates in it, but it did have opiates in it,
Okay.
and that lawsuit was about to come full steam. You
Yeah.
know, that's what happens. You just get killed in aviation accidents.
Got killed by the Sacklers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also heard that's why Diddy got in trouble because he was suing Diageo, who was like a big liquor brand holder. Like they're the ones that own like entire
over
liquor.
what is his horseshit Ciroc
Yeah,
steak?
some kind of shit
Yeah.
with Ciroc, and they were just like, "All right, now you're in big time trouble."
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't buy things like that because of the fact that Purdue Pharmaceutical can kill millions of people and nobody gives a shit. Like really? Like does anyone actually listening to this know who the Sackler family is or has bothered to look into this or have seen like the inside memos of that place that basically like are like, "Oh yeah, we totally knew everything was like it was like super addictive and we were like ruining people's lives and shit."
Yeah.
Not only that, but we were actually investing in fucking methadone clinics and shit as a way of like kind of like full circling our business operations.
Why not?
Yeah. So
America, the land of the free and the home of the brave.
why kill Kobe Bryant when you can literally just do whatever the fuck you want anyway?
Because he was trying to bring it to light.
Yeah, but it's already you could look it up on the internet right now if
Yeah.
you wanted to.
I
You
don't know.
know.
It's just gonna make
Like,
news.
Yeah. I
There's
just
you know what else is an interesting thing? The Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell. Did he kill himself too?
yeah, Cornell killed himself.
Yeah, but they're all supposedly tied to bringing Hollywood pedophile rings to light, and they had suspicious deaths.
yeah.
You don't want it, because you drink tap water, bro. You don't want to fucking. You don't want to.
I
You
just
know?
don't. Well, in that regard, I don't.
What
think,
did you put in that cup today? Did you fucking fill it up from the tap?
I got it off your
Filtered
refrigerator
water.
door.
All right. So
yeah.
see, you're like, well,
Yeah.
see, you're feeling a little more malleable today.
No, I don't know. I just, yeah. I mean, who is he going to expose? You know, like
I don't know.
the lead singer from Soundgarden, was he really that ingrained in like the fucking in that culture at that point in time? You know?
I still have like
The fucking backup vocalist on Linkin Park knows shit about like the corporate elite. Like, I don't think so.
I'm just still mad at Linkin Park. They like they ruined everything.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because I feel like if it wasn't from Linkin Park, like Linkin
you
Park.
could have led like a happy and nourished like life.
No,
No,
I don't think so.
no. All right. Never mind.
I just think Linkin Park paved the way for all this fucking emo, fucking pink hair bullshit.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
nobody was being like, oh, like you're just fucking being a big baby. You're being a big baby with a rock and roll soundtrack,
Yeah.
and you tricked like all these fucking guys in high school whose like girlfriends broke, they had girlfriend trauma,
Yeah.
and they're like, oh, this strikes a chord with me,
Right.
And then it went on like a 20-year spiral of you questioning your fucking gender identity, and like now you're not dyeing your hair green because of punk rock anymore. You're dyeing it because of your fucking bullshit crybaby stuff.
Yeah.
Like you just, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? You started out with that fucking heavy, what's up? You're like, fuck yeah, dude. And then
all of a sudden it's just
you
like,
rolled
"My
the
dad
album out.
doesn't love
That's the only
me."
song that fucking sounds like that on the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just this fucking crybaby, fucking, it's okay that I'm fat. Don't fucking shame me. I got anxiety.
Yeah.
Fuck you, fucking pussy shit. And now China's winning.
Yeah. I mean,
know?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at.
I could see it.
So, maybe Chester just realized the part that he played and he just couldn't look himself in the mirror anymore.
Just had to be done with it.
And he just said, I don't want to be part of this simulation anymore.
Yeah. I don't know.
In this holographic fucking matrix that we live in.
Yeah. I mean, as a parent, I feel like I'm constantly like, having like this inner struggle where it's like, am I fucking my kids up? Am I like, are my kids like going to be like emotionally well-rounded, or, you know, all this like, but at the end of the day, I keep like reminding myself, dude, like there were 50, you know, parents in the 50s used to get drunk and beat the shit out of their kids. Like, why the fuck am I feeling bad because like I yelled at them for like 5 minutes, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Life is tough, man. And you need to learn to put on your fucking helmet and get your own shit up the fucking mountain. Like, I tell my kids this all the time, which probably is fucking them up even worse. But I tell them, I'm like, I'm gonna be dead one day, and one day probably sooner than you would even think.
Yeah.
So it's like, you guys better figure this shit out on your own, because I'm not going to be here anymore, like to do it for you. You know?
How old were you when your old man passed away?
Well, I was 18, but I had not known him at that point for like a decade. So like he left when I was like in second grade. So yes, I mean,
I
but
could lay that on them.
oh,
You'd be like-
I do. I'm like, just so you know, like you think you don't see your dad very much working working nights, dude. I didn't see my dad for a fucking decade. You know, to the point where like my Uncle Brian called me up the day he died and was like, your dad died. And I was like, oh, word? That's tough break, you know? Like I had no relationship with my dad at that point. My brother did a little bit, but like he was older. My dad was a fucking weirdo though. So that just is what it is. It's another thing I got to instill that in them too, where I'm just like, hey, just so you know, anytime you have a crazy fucking thought, really try and dig it out, you know, figure out what the root of that is. Because we have mental illness all throughout this family. So anyway.
I don't know if you know this or not, but
Yeah.
we helped one of the most famous Nazis kill himself.
That's other side of the family, and that's scary. It's like, no, the dad side of the family are the fucking weird like gypsy folk of like northern New York.
Is this also the side of the family that like just didn't have it in him to turn the other way and let Aaron Hernandez be a successful NFL player?
That's the wife's side of the family.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah. No blood relation though.
Nobody talks about that when they talk about the fucking the Tom Brady run.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you know,
so nobody talks about losing A. Hernan
yeah,
and the $40 million cap hit that came along with it.
My brother-in-law may or may not have been responsible for at least one Super Bowl loss. That the Eagles won.
Somebody, you know what? I heard this chatter at the airport bar the other day, and it was like people talking football, and I think they had to have been talking about the second Giants Super Bowl. And they were talking about like they were talking about drops, first of all. And these motherfuckers didn't bring up Asante Samuel, who could have sealed the undefeated season by just fucking picking off Eli Manning and toe tapping and being done with it. But I digress. I don't even know what I'm talking about anymore. I went into an Asante Samuel rage. So they talk about all the drops that happened in the second Super Bowl, which Wes Welker is notorious for having the drop.
Was that Caldwell too? Or no, that was
they say Aaron Hernandez had a drop, and they also they put my boy Gronk's name in there, who was playing hurt in that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
but I've never gone back and watched either one of the Giants' losses.
Yeah,
like even when I still had cable and NFL Network around the time the Super Bowl would play like every single one. I just wasn't ready for it.
Yeah.
But maybe I am now because I heard this guy talking and I'm like, let's go see what the real problems were.
So you have or you're going to watch them?
I'm going to check it. I'm going to have to check it out.
Well, yeah,
I want to see what happens down the stretch because I don't remember watching.
It's the Welker catch, right? The Welker drop.
But that was the one where they're saying Hernandez had a bad drop in that too.
Yeah.
So if the Hernandez catches that ball, is Welker in the situation to drop that? What is that? Like a long 3rd and 10, I think.
And he was also like if I remember correctly, he was like kind of twisting in an awkward way. Like Brady had like thrown it a little behind him.
Brady placed the best ball.
Yeah. Well,
if I remember, a lot of blame to go around.
Yeah. If I remember the route, I think he was kind of like coming out of the flat and then like kind of like going towards the sideline, but like with his hips and shit turned inside, and the ball came to the outside, so he kind of had to like give it one of those. Yeah, but I don't know. Whatever. The bottom line, you lost the fucking game. You know, there's 53 dudes on the team.
That's why I tried
pinning it on one is kind of just like there's no point.
Yeah,
it's the same people who fucker to like if the ones for the fucking refs. It's like the refs decided one play in the whole fucking game. It's like 100. There's 120 fucking plays in the game.
The refs are suspicious, man. It's one of the biggest.
I just don't buy that shit.
I don't know, man. Especially,
I think just refs are just. I think the sad reality is that, and the thing that most people don't want to just confront themselves with is that the vast majority of people are stupid and don't know how to do their jobs. So I think the refs do the best they can. They make a call. It's on the field. And then the moment, like, how many? If you took off, go to a fucking Little League baseball game. Go to a Little League baseball game without any umps on it or anything like that, and you try and just call that game from everywhere on the field. Like it's not as easy as you think it is, you know. Just stand behind the ump and call balls and strikes. I'm just saying though, like people want to like make these refs to be like infallible. It's like, dude, they're dudes who are barely college educated or high school educated, and they're fucking just thrust into this situation where you have to make these insanely high pressure decisions in front of tens of thousands of people and millions of people at home.
But the NFL is behind the times, I feel like, with these, you know what I mean? Like these guys aren't these aren't their full-time jobs. Like these guys are like lawyers and like dentists and shit. Like they're behind the times with this. And like if you don't want to say that games are manipulated, then why is the officiating so behind the times? Why aren't we relying more on camera angles and all of this? Like, why aren't calls being made from like a bird's eye view?
Yeah.
Like, there's a penalty on every play. There really is a penalty on every play. You can find a hold on every fucking play. And it's like, if you really want to officiate the game the right way, why isn't it being done? And I hate to be a fucking Chiefs hater, but I feel like that's the content that comes up that I see, especially them against San Francisco. They play them twice in the Super Bowl now, right?
Yes.
So the most recent one, I want to say that there was something where the Chiefs had like the most holding calls in the regular season, and they don't have one holding call called on them in the Super Bowl. And then you go and look at like all the freeze frames and like the prolific drives that Patrick Mahomes makes, and it's like there's guys, Bosa, just like hanging all over him.
Yeah.
You know, like Bosa's almost like the Gronk of the defense, or Shaq, where they're not calling any penalties on anybody. You know, so it's just I don't know. You see that enough, and you're like, this fucking sucks. And then the first game of the season this year was what? Ravens and Chiefs, right? Yeah. And they called all these fucking dumbass like offensive line, silly technical, his foot's in the wrong spot shit. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is this?
But they told everyone that they're making that a priority this season. You know, that is what it is. You know,
but I don't know. If you're already a fan that's on like the line of being skeptical, and the season starts off with all these fucking dumbass flags like that, especially as like a conspiratorial guy, I'm just sitting there like, what the fuck?
Well, that's just it. I think what you're pointing to doesn't point to a conspiracy. It just points to ineptitude and being stupid. Which to me, like I 1,000% can buy into that. Like if you want to tell me that the corporate entity that is the NFL is like ruining their own product by being a fucking moron, I will 100% agree with that. To say that they're doing it because they want Patrick Mahomes to win another Super Bowl, I just don't buy that. You know, like nobody would just so blatantly be, you know, what end? What do they want to cow to the media titan that is Kansas City, Missouri? Like nobody gives a fuck if Kansas City wins.
It's just there. It's not about the location. It's about like the.
I mean, it is
guys who
kind of.
It's about the guys who can play the game and keep the masses entertained. So, like, they have their new cash cow in Patrick Mahomes. He's dedicated enough to the game. He's coached by Andy Reid, who runs a good ship. Like, they are the next Patriots for as long as Mahomes can stay healthy and productive. And the league is gonna ride this to the ratings, to everything else. It's like you need that villain. For a long time, it was the Patriots. Everybody would tune in. Their team was playing the Patriots. They want to fucking hate on them. They're fucking cheaters. All this narrative, you know, and now it's the same way. Like I watched the fucking Chiefs, and I'm like, I fucking hate these guys.
Yeah,
you know, and it's like they've turned it around. It's just it's a big soap opera.
Yeah,
and I believe there are,
but they don't have to manipulate it.
There are like preferred. They don't have to, but there's preferred outcomes that they would like to see. And you can't tell me that they're not like swallowing the flag. Like I'll give you an example from my own team.
All right,
Patriots are down against Jacksonville. Blake Bortles Jaguars.
The AFC,
in the AFC Championship game, and they storm back and win the game. I guarantee you, if you go back and look, like the flags are in our favor, the bounces are in our favor.
Yeah, but that's what happens to teams that just win. Like sometimes it's your day. Like. You can't be mad. And all of the things that you're talking about, like flags and bounces going in your favor, the only way that you can capitalize on all that is on the rest of the game, the rest of the plays where those things aren't going your way. You still are able to be a functioning, high-functioning team.
90% of the time, you're doing it on your own.
Exactly.
And you just need the little...
Yeah. I can tell you...
You can't tell me the NFL wasn't fucking shit in their pants thinking, fuck, bro.
We're going to have Jacksonville in the Super Bowl?
Jacksonville in the Super Bowl? Like...
Yeah, I mean, sure, but you're talking though, like, what are they going to do? Risk their $1 trillion industry because of like?
No, they're not going to risk it because it's already fucking. It's already built in.
Well, there you go. Then in that case, why?
It's already there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm
Why?
saying.
To keep the masses entertained, to keep the Roman circus going, to keep us drinking our beer and eating our bread and not overthrowing the government
Come on, man.
while thinking about our 20-foot fucking yard skeletons.
So what you're telling me right now is that had the Jacksonville Jaguars played in a Super Bowl, the very social fabric that like surrounds us all would have evaporated on one Super Bowl Sunday. You decided to not watch the game. Like, no, it never would have happened. So who cares?
No, but I'm just saying it's all about money, dude. It's all about money.
Yeah, but I'm saying they already made their money. It's $1 trillion industry. It's $1 trillion
already
industry.
make that money.
They absolutely have.
They're gonna get because it's all about ratings in the big game.
Yeah,
and
but
you're not gonna tune it like the fan base. I feel like is not they're trying to get fan bases that tune in.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. They're not going to risk their $1 trillion cash cow industry for the $125 million that they're going to lose in revenue for the advertising of that weekend. It's just that's like fucking, it's throwing away $100 bill because you lost, a fucking $1 bet.
But I feel like you're not seeing what I'm saying though. Like Mahomes is going to win the game on his own 9 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
All it takes is for a couple of I didn't see that. Just a couple times.
Yeah, I just think
just a couple times. Like it doesn't need to be this big conspiracy. It just needs to be this big like the refs know what's good for them. Like
yeah,
I didn't see that.
I just think, like I said, I think it's not because the refs favor Patrick Mahomes. I think it's just because the refs are stupid.
I think it can be both.
Yeah,
I think we're dancing around the same Venn diagram.
Yeah, but here's the thing. That's like when it comes to the Chiefs winning games, the Chiefs end up winning those games where the calls go their way. Why? Because the Chiefs are a good team that win NFL football games. The reason the Lions, like for years, you know how many times I watched the fucking refs make a terrible call that like quote unquote cost the Lions the football game? There's no fucking call like that the Lions ever had against them that made them lose the football game. The Lions lost that football game, and those calls were then against them. And like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
well,
you can't be a good team. You might lose a close one every now and again because of a bad call. That shit happens. It's just the breaks. If you lose every fucking game because of a bad call, you're a fucking bad team.
Yeah.
Like, I don't give a fuck, There's fucking 9 other drives in that game you could have gotten points on, and you didn't because you fucking suck.
Cam Newton never should have beat Tom Brady. Rob Gronkowski caught that touchdown if he's not fucking dragged. You know what I mean? Like, that kind of shit.
I'm just saying, like...
But I also feel like such is life, though. Like, it's not about what happens to you. It's about your reaction to it.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is, like, this group of poorly coached, unmotivated, not team-playing men have a bad break, and they don't have the inner wherewithal to react to it to the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And just keep...
Well, or do you remember the Rams Saints? I think it was a divisional round game. Jared Goff Rams. It was actually the year the Rams ended up going to the Super Bowl. But the Rams played the Saints in, I think, the divisional round, and there was that, like, blatant, just horrible pass interference call that didn't get called, right? Like, he was literally hanging on the guy to the point where after the game, the corner was like, oh, yeah, that was definitely pass interference. Like, it was, like, ridiculous. Well, they asked Jared Goff about it, and Jared Goff, to his credit, he says, well, was that call pass interference, Jared?
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it wasn't. Did they call it? It's like, no. Well, they got the ball again, and then they got the ball in overtime. And they didn't win. So, like, even if that was pass interference or whatever you want to call it, like, you had your chance to win the fucking game. You didn't win the game.
Yeah.
And had they won the fucking game, nobody would have been talking about it. So that's what I'm talking about. Fucking good teams end up winning because good teams are good teams. Bad teams end up losing and then blaming the fucking refs for their fucking woes. And it's like, guy, this is 1 fucking second of a fucking 3.5 hour long football game. You lost because you suck. That's it. I don't want to hear a fucking excuse, like. So in that regard, I don't believe that the refs actually manipulate.
Coming back with the clicker on these 2 Super Bowls that I'm about to fucking rewatch.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, are there bad calls? Of course, they're bad calls. They're people,
Always.
But if you lose a game because of a bad call, it's because you weren't good enough to win it.
Dude, I heard. You know who has the fucking greatest podcast? If you fucking were like a Patriots fan, is Edelman.
Yeah. I like he's on my TikTok feed. I don't know how I got into it, but yeah.
You see any of the Billy O stuff? Billy O'Brien?
Yeah. I can't. He's like in that Josh McDaniels vein where I cannot bring myself to like enjoy him as a person though. Like I don't,
Yeah.
I just do
But
not like him.
He's telling this story about like being in the quarterbacks room meeting, and I guess he's saying that like Castle was like one of the most all-time funny people he's ever been around. And I guess, this would be like after the whole day, and like Belichick would take his shoes off like in this room, and he doesn't wear socks, fucking old man feet stinking. Castle would always be like, "What is that smell?" He's like, and then eventually like Castle finally was like, "Bill, is that your feet that smell like that?" And Billy O'Brien just like, I'll never forget. Belichick just looked at him and goes, "Castle, why don't you just shut the fuck up?" Like, can you imagine like that?
Like being the backup quarterback and breaking Bill Belichick's balls.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. But at the same point, like just having to like what is that? Some type of like psycho army like drill sergeant? Like you're gonna smell these terrible feet. While we talk
it's like
about, like this
mental
crazy,
warfare.
Yeah, like Belichick's a fucking odd one, man.
Yeah, I mean he's a career football guy.
Yeah, like there'll always be like these funny like still shots of like his son making all these funny faces
Oh, I know.
and shit.
His
like
son's
that.
definitely a cokehead.
But it'd be like, dude, like if you grew up with Belichick as your dad,
yeah,
you think you're a fucking little tapped. You know what I mean?
And
like
in terms of coaches' sons, like those are the success story. You don't want to be the fucking Reed's kids, that's for sure.
yeah, oof,
Yeah,
that's crazy. Andy Reid's made such a great run of boys into men.
Yeah, except for his
like,
own.
except for the ones that he created.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everybody's got their fucking journey through life, I guess. But
Andy Reid wins a Super Bowl. He's like, "I'm getting a fucking cheeseburger."
Yeah.
And it like translates down to his kid. He's like, just wakes up on a rainy day and he's like, "I'm getting some heroin." And the other one's like, "Maybe I'll just give a kid brain damage in a fucking DWI car accident.
The day before the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Oh,
Yikes.
is that the Super Bowl that they lose to the Bucks?
No, I think that was the one I think they beat the Niners, right? That was the.
I'm not sure.
I think that was the first Niners win.
They've been on a good run.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, good for them. I mean, they're going for the three-peat this year. So
yeah, they're not gonna make it. Everybody's dying.
Yeah.
They just lost Rashae Rice.
Yeah,
their Pacheco's out.
Yeah.
They're dead.
The defense though could be good enough to kind of give them like one of those like Patriot years where 17-14 final score in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So we'll see though.
I don't know. Everybody, it's just lining up for me to fucking, Travis Kelce going to be the only option left. Just throw him the ball 900 times a game, and that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Who's the fucking antithesis on the other side this year?
Oh, like the worst team in football?
No, like who's the NFC team that we should be?
I mean, the Lions look good. The Vikings look good. The fucking who's in the NFC? And no one in the NFC East is looking all that great. That Daniels kid though looks good. The fucking Commanders quarterback.
Yeah.
NFC South. Yeah, no one really. Right? Panthers, Bucks, Saints. Yeah, and the NFC West is what the fucking. I mean, the Niners have kind of had some problems, so I don't know.
It might be like the most wide.
Holy shit! Are the Lions like the favorites to come out of the NFC at this point?
Oh man. Are you really gonna put your faith in fucking Sam Darnold being on like his third team?
I don't know.
I'm rooting for the guy. I like a story like that.
Yeah.
Like Geno Smith being like they wrote me off and I didn't write back kind of deal.
I mean, I've always said that I think the whole fucking league is filled with quarterbacks that could have been good quarterbacks in better situations.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, Darnold falls into that category, dude. Who the fuck was gonna win? It was all those years whenever people would shit on Matt Stafford, like when he was a Lion. Oh, Matt Stafford can't win the big game. It's like, what fucking big game is Matt Stafford ever going to be playing on on that fucking team? Like, what a fucking dog shit organization the Lions were. And I had to fucking watch them. The Lions were fucking terrible for 20 fucking years. And I'm talking just like fundamental from top to bottom, absolutely mismanaged and shittily run organization. And, look what happens. You finally get fucking... You take the fucking steaming pile of shit that was once Jared Goff cast off by McVay, and you put like a solid foundation around him. And what happens? We start winning fucking games. You bring Stafford to McVay, who was a fucking offensive wizard. The organization was just like one piece away from winning a Super Bowl, and he wins a fucking Super Bowl. I just think there's, in terms of like the Darnold shit, it's like, yeah, of course. If you give him like a fucking good, solid, like foundation to build something off of, he can be a good quarterback.
I mean,
you don't become the fucking quarterback of USC and not at least be fucking competent,
I mean, we got drafted by the Jets.
Yeah.
And
he was a Panther.
Panthers. Yeah, he's just been a terrible organization.
And then he was like a backup for the Purdy Niners.
Yeah.
Yeah. But even then, though, like, I think he got like a little spot start, or not maybe like a quarter or two or something with Shanahan where he looked pretty good. You know, I just the quarterback in general, like stop paying these dudes $55-60 million a year. You do not need a $55-60 million a year quarterback. You just get a good one who's like halfway decent, you know, and put him and surround him with a bunch of fucking talent. You know,
look at everybody that they've paid. Like nobody's done anything. Yeah.
No,
the only one that's won is Mahomes, and now he's like underpaid compared to like all these new contracts.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. If you're paying Patrick Mahomes $50 million and Joe Burrow $50 million, like Patrick Mahomes is worth 80.
Get 75. You know? Yeah. Like
Joe Burrow to me is just like he is another. Joe Burrow
you fucking hate him.
I hate dudes who use the word swag. I fucking hate it. But Joe Burrow is Sam Darnold, except he happened to be drafted into a situation where they decided to actually build around him. You know,
we need like
Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, fucking Tyler Boyd when he was there. Like you have
Joe Mixon.
Yeah, Joe Mixon. You have the greatest fucking offensive core in the league, arguably for
they
that
got a pretty good
3-year
line
stretch.
Too.
Yeah, it's all right. It's passable. Yeah.
They brought in like Trent Brown as like a insurance policy. You know what I mean? You know how large of a human that is? Like they definitely brought in, and I think I don't know.
Well, that's been their problem though, is keeping Joe Burrow upright. So I mean, whether that's the fault of the line or if that's just Joe Burrow being injury prone, like that has been their biggest issue. And the 1 year though they went to the Super Bowl, why did they go to the Super Bowl? They went to the Super Bowl because their fucking defensive line was playing fucking lights out. Like, and also their offensive was like clicking on all cylinders, you know? So, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't think I'll ever see Joe Burrow in another meaningful playoff game for the rest of his career, if I had to guess. I mean, or maybe he'll have like kind of like a Matt Ryan arc where it's kind of like he's always that dude who, you know, every couple of years they win the division. Yeah. Maybe they'll win a playoff game or something, but I don't know.
Like, Matt Ryan rode that Super Bowl for another contract at least.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, right? Then he just totally traded.
I think they traded him to the Colts on like the last year of his deal. So he signed like a 5-year deal after that contract. So it's the same thing as Burrow. You know,
I think that was an MVP season for him, wasn't it? I think he won an MVP.
Yeah. Does Burrow re-up after this contract with the Bengals, or is he?
Well, I mean, they just fucking started it, and they're 0-3 or 1-3 now. They win. I think they won yesterday. So 1-3. Sorry, that's right. They beat a fucking Panthers team that like literally goes out on the field and beats themselves every week.
Yeah.
So. And I think barely too. I think it was a 1-score game. Yeah.
I don't think you can. I think a coffin nail for the NFL is having your stars in like contract problems going into the season.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Dallas had problems with their receiver and their quarterback. Cincy, same thing. Like it's like you got to have.
Well, they paid Burrow. That was the problem.
Well, it's not Burrow. It's Chase.
It's Chase and T. Higgins.
Like you're just fucking. You know, like either get that shit squared away or make the move to be like better for the future. I think having these guys just like hanging around, being disgruntled, like I don't think that works out for the 52 other guys in the locker room.
Yeah, well, I also think that
especially when these guys are being mad about wanting the payday that the 48 other guys are never going to see.
Yeah.
You know, like you're being fucking mad about your millions when these guys are fucking being happy with their hundreds of thousands.
Right, but I think in this regard, like the whole Brandon Ayuk shit, like when he was like holding out and like wanting to get paid and shit, I think these wide receivers have a point. I think wide receiver and pass rusher, they're the two most important positions on an NFL team. And I'm not even fucking around. I would not include quarterback in that fucking. Look at fucking Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton steps in
somewhere. Trent Dilfer's like,
dude, I'm sorry, but like you can't ignore it anymore. When you watch a guy like Jake Browning, remember he was like a third string fucking Bengals quarterback who comes in when Burrow like gets hurt, and then I think even the backup quarterback to Burrow got hurt. He comes in, plays for a fucking game, he looks great. Why? Because he has the fucking best offensive team, like arguably in football, surrounding him.
Yeah.
You can hide a bad quarterback. You cannot hide a bad receiving core or a fucking bad like pass rush.
We're the Patriots. Can't hide that shit.
Well, I'm just saying, you're fucking, I don't understand why more, like, take the fucking Shanahan team. That Niners team is built on every other position on the field but the quarterback. And they drafted one as Mr. Irrelevant and found out he was better than the dude they fucking drafted, whatever that was, 3rd overall 2 years earlier. And what'd they do? They fucking gave the reins to that kid.
Yeah.
Because he can handle running a competent NFL offense. That's all you need.
There's an interesting story about how the Niners got
Brock Purdy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has something to do with like
it's a comp pick.
Yeah, from when they didn't draft
They didn't do any homework on Patrick Mahomes.
That's what it
because
was.
they
It was
thought
that draft.
They thought that they were going to get Kirk Cousins in free agency, and then in the middle of that season, they get Jimmy G from the Patriots.
Yep.
And so they took like a quarterback in like the 3rd or 4th round. I forget the guy's name. C.J. Beathard.
Yep.
And he leaves in free agency, I think, to go to the Vikings.
Yeah.
So
and they
get
use that comp pick.
They get a comp pick to get Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how shit like that works out.
Yeah.
I think there's some kind of. I saw something too about how the Jets are ultimately to blame for the Patriots getting Tom Brady as well.
Well, they were the ones that knocked Bledsoe out of the game.
It's not even that. It's like
that is who they. I think that's who it was. Right?
Yeah, it is. There's some game I think where the punter is like the Jets' backup quarterback or something like that.
Yeah,
like it's the emergency quarterback, and they beat the Patriots with that punter quarterback. And that's like the loss that the Patriots needed for like the tiebreaker to go through for them to have, the picks in succession.
Yeah, but I mean, at that point, what Brady get like picked at like what was it like the
199? I think it is.
Yeah, was it or whatever it was?
I think it's also
198 people picked before.
I think it's also maybe it's like a comp pick or some shit that got awarded to him because of how that game played out.
Right. Yeah.
So like if the Patriots don't lose to a punter quarterback, like the draft order or the comp picks shake out in a different way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's football though, man.
I love autism stuff like that.
Yeah, you really go deep into it. Yeah.
There's another one about how the Raiders ultimately are responsible for Gronk
being a Patriot.
Yeah, like some trade they made.
Have you ever heard the Patriot story where Gronk like is like attending like his pre-draft meetings and shit?
And they like tell him,
how they're just like asking a question. He's just like, I don't know the answer to that. He's just like, and I thought I blew it, and there's no way this team's gonna draft me. And then like they draft him.
Yeah, I heard this story though, where like him and his brothers are all celebrating. And he's like minutes into us having a good time, they called and were like, you need to fucking calm down right now.
Yeah. Oh really?
Yeah, they're like, put Gronk back in the fucking bag. But there is a story where like Gronk's telling he's like so I go on this pre-draft workout. And they put the play on the board.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And it's Billy O'Brien. And he's like, then he erases the board and he goes, what were the wide receivers' responsibilities on this? And he's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, he basically says to an extent, I don't know, man. My job is just to catch the ball.
No, but he goes, well, what do you do on that play? He goes, you throw me the fucking ball.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, what is it? He goes, it doesn't matter. You just throw me the fucking ball, Billy O. Like, that's fucking, I love it. I love that shit. Like, those podcasts are fucking awesome.
Yeah. Well, some dudes are cerebral, others aren't. No one will ever accuse him of being one.
Gronk is cerebral. He's like Rain.
I don't know
he's
about
Rain.
that.
I'm telling you, bro. You haven't watched as many of these things. Like everybody says, he's like a fucking Rain Man.
So, I don't want to.
And I had a great experience with him, bro. Like he literally like parted the sea of security and was like, "Come take a picture with me because you guys are fucking cool."
Yeah,
like that's great. Who does that?
My one of. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to out her. It'll just be somebody I know. Or whatever, somebody I know through somebody else used to actually be kind of like a, for lack of a better term, like a groupie.
An associate?
Like a groupie for a lot of like the Boston sports sort of things. Yeah. This was like the early 2010s, like Red Sox. She was sleeping with like one of the starting pitchers of that team. And she kind of like hung around with like some of like the staff of like the Patriots, like, and then was like, that was like the Amendola and Edelman and Gronk era of the Patriots. And it was the AFC Championship. They played at home. I don't remember which one, but they won it. And they had invited all of these people back to Gronk's house to like have like an after the AFC Championship party. So it's like 3 a.m. when like this shit is all like basically coming together. So you have to have like coded access to get to like, basically the party part of the house was like in the basement or area or whatever the fuck. But in order to get into the rest of the house, you need to have coded access to get into the rest of the house. Just to make sure that obviously you don't have fucking assholes wandering around in Gronk's house.
Stealing a Super Bowl ring.
Exactly. So she's going to leave though, and she's looking for her friend who she thinks is upstairs in the other Gronk part of the house or whatever. So she's looking for her friend and they let her into that area. And at that point, like everyone's kind of clearing out. So she goes upstairs and she goes into, like, she passes by Gronk's kitchen and it's demolished. Like, he has pulled every cabinet off of
I've
the wall.
heard this story.
Oh, really?
Not from you.
Not from me?
Yeah,
Okay.
like,
Well, so he's pulled every cabinet off the wall. Like, all
Yeah.
of his shit is fucked up. And he's just, like, sitting in the middle of the kitchen, like, floor, just, like, eating food with, like, his bare hands at, like, 4:45 in the morning, So that's, like, that was just, like, a window into, like, okay, so this dude is, like, every bit of the meathead you think
Yeah.
he is, But, yeah. That's fucking, that was a funny story, though, I heard.
that's hilarious.
Yeah.
I heard also while you were telling me this story, I just thought of like some fucking Boston broad being like, "No ma, fuck me harder."
Oh, man. I wish it was somebody even as cool as Nomar. It wasn't. I don't want to put, not like I think anyone's going to ever listen to this, but I don't want
Yeah.
to put this dude on blast.
I mean, we
But
have a. I mean,
He was 100% married. And he was like a good old boy.
yeah.
Yeah. Like, he's from down south for sure. Yeah.
All of our former associates in the branch that we've served in I think will know this story. But there's a dude that like, fuck, I can't think of his name. He was a Florida Gator. He played on defense for the Patriots. Then he went and played. Then he went and played for the Bills.
Lawyer Malloy?
Nah, this is like I want to say this is like the same era as like the Hernandez teams and stuff like that.
Oh.
But he crashed he suspiciously like crashed his car and like abandoned it, and he was like,
Oh, okay. Wait, do you know who it is or you don't know who it is?
if you said his name, I would know who he is. I
Wasn't
just
it
can't-
Chandler Jones?
Nah,
Who did that? Or no, Chandler Jones was the guy who got all high and like called the police on himself, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind. All right.
I can't think of this guy's name, but he crashed his car, but he was going to see this girl that we used to work
Oh,
with.
really?
Yeah, like you.
Oh, like that we used to work with?
We never worked with her.
Oh,
But
okay, never mind.
She worked for
Okay.
the company before us.
All right.
And but yeah, he was like on his way over there and like crashed his fucking car and like ruined his whole
Yeah.
Patriots career
Damn.
on a bartender.
I mean, yeah. Good for him, I guess.
Oh no, actually, you know what I think it is? He went over there and she called no dice on it.
Oh.
So he was
so
like
on the way back?
leaving mad. Yeah.
Jesus.
Like so he got in trouble in his NFL career because he couldn't fuck a bartender.
Damn.
What a bum.
Yeah, seriously. Again, that's blaming the refs. You're a fucking
like-
just saying. You're a fucking loser. If you can't
Ryan,
if you can't
are
prove-
hating the player and not the game
Yeah.
right now, sir.
or you're doing the opposite. You're saying he's fucking he blew it because he couldn't land a bartender. It's like I contend that he blew it because he's a fucking loser.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just saying,
There you go.
If I were a professional athlete, I'd be able to fuck any bartender in New England. I promise you.
Yeah. I don't know.
Actually, yeah, fuck it. They'll never listen to this. I used to work with a girl though who she did like something with like some sort of like not like a PR company, but like a marketing agency kind of thing. And they would do like promotions and shit. And this was back in the era of like, early 2000s, 2005-ish, and she did something with Donovan McNabb, actually. And she ended up like fucking piping Donovan McNabb. So we used to have like this giant hose that we would like, connect to the fucking spigot to like melt our ice with.
Yeah.
And every time we broke it out, we'd be like, bring me Donovan. Because he's
Oh, that's
he's
funny.
apparently
I thought
pretty
you were gonna,
well endowed.
I thought you were gonna call the hose her name because she was being.
Oh,
Yeah.
No. She no, we had the giant McNabb hose.
Like that's like your version of like Wesley Pipes. Like, go
Yeah.
get Wesley Pipes.
Yeah,
man.
that's it. Like grab McNabb. Yeah. Anyway.
Donovan McNabb went to like a fucking ton of championship games in a row and never did nothing.
Yeah, 4.
I think he went to like 4 or 5 straight.
4 straight and he won 1. The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, then he threw up in the Super Bowl and Terrell Owens fucking put him on blast.
Yeah. I like T.O. I don't care what Skip Bayless has to say about him.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think that outside of
Like you
him,
have a- I
outside
don't-
of Randy and Jerry, like I think he's probably the third best. Like career-wise, I think he's the third best
I
wide
think,
receiver
you know
to ever play
what?
football.
What I think I can say, if you go back and look at it, I think T.O. has a lot of bad drops at a lot of bad times. Like I do remember that about him.
Yeah.
Like as being like a more like crazy football fan, like watching everything, having like 6 fantasy teams going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I do remember in that heyday of being like, damn, bro, like T.O.
You
fucking
kinda-
make that catch, dude.
Yeah,
Fuck,
but even
like,
at like Cowboys era TO, you have to remember.
that's the TO that I know more than any other TO.
Well, that's just it, though. You have to remember, though, that by that time of his career, like a normal NFL football player, their career would be over. Like T.O. on the Cowboys was like age 32 to
Yeah.
age 35. Like he was kind of a victim of the fact that he did have some longevity. But, Niners and Eagles T.O. was,
Yeah.
unstoppable. Like
yeah,
I
that
would,
catch against Green Bay that Steve Young throws was
Yeah.
fucking crazy.
yeah, or the fucking game that they come back from, like, I think the Giants are beating them, like, the Strahan Giants, like maybe, was that like 05, 06 or something? But the Strahan Giants are beating them like 26-3 at one point, or some fucking just ass beating. And Strahan famously like points to the scoreboard after like fucking somebody was jawing at him, and then from there like T.O. just takes over the game and just fucking annihilates them. They end up losing like I think it was like 31-26 or something. But like they came back from like 26-3 like in the middle of the third quarter to win that game. So yeah, he was a fucking beast. And also, he was like a fucking hard-nosed receiver, too. Like,
Yeah.
he was a possession
Yeah.
guy through and through. Like, he earned every one of those catches,
I mean, if we were
Like, Randy Moss, like, you could have put Randy Moss on any fucking team, and he was going to outrun everybody on the field. Like, T.O. didn't have that in his bag. Like, he just had to straight up, like, out-muscle you for those fucking receptions. So, I don't know. I think T.O.'s probably... And I'm a Calvin purist. And even I have to give the edge to T.O.
yeah,
Just because Calvin, the injuries. Like, if Calvin had maybe like 2 or 3 more years of what he was doing, I'd put him at like 3. But
why? Just a fucking. I don't have like any legendary memories of him.
Calvin?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he played on the fucking worst
It's just-
teams.
Yeah,
in-
like I guess
Yeah.
unless you were a Lions, like I just wasn't watching those games.
The
You
year
know,
that-
like
the-
even like I don't remember seeing sports and being like, oh, did you fucking see this shit? Like
Oh, he had plenty of fucking
the biggest
big
thing I
plays.
remember is the one that they robbed from him.
Yeah,
Isn't
the-
he like
the Bears one?
notorious for like?
That's the Calvin Johnson rule.
Yeah.
Yeah. That came into existence because he caught the ball, got both feet down, literally running out of the end zone. He slips and kind of just like moves his hand backwards, like with the ball in his hands, just to kind of like re-catch himself, and puts the ball on the ground. And the ball kind of squibbles free. But mind you, this has already been
He's already
both-
passed the plane.
both
right?
feet are in. He's taken like 2 steps, then he slips, then he does that thing. It's like 4 seconds after the fucking
This play's
play.
over.
Yeah, and they fucking call it like no touchdown. But yeah, Calvin was a fucking animal though, man. He fucking that year that he broke all the fucking records and shit for like single season receiving and shit, like he was unstoppable. Matt Stafford was just dropping back and just being like, "I'm gonna fucking huck
He's
this shit up in
Yeah.
triple coverage. I don't give a fuck." Yeah,
I mean, I think his issue if you start assembling like an all-time team, it's like you pretty much have to take him over Randy Moss.
if you're going one game, if you're saying Brennan, you can have one athlete in the prime of his career to play wide receiver for you for one game, and it's your life depends on it. I'm taking Calvin Johnson over everyone, even Jerry Rice, because Calvin Johnson is the only guy who there is no answer to. Zero.
Yeah,
you can't cover him with a corner because they're not tall enough. You can't cover him with a fucking safety because they're not fast enough. You can't cover him with a linebacker because they just, it's like there's nobody on the field that could have covered Calvin Johnson. He was
know what?
fucking insane.
You know what this takes me back to? Like I feel like when we first started hanging out, it was around the time where like Calvin had retired, and I think Patricia was like on the
Yeah.
Lions, right? And
Yeah.
I was like, bro, Patricia's trading Calvin Johnson's retired rights to Belichick for like a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck no.
Yeah, no. I mean, the sad reality with Calvin was that, like, I think the lower body injuries just got to him. I think he would have liked to have gone somewhere else, but the Lions, rightfully so, were like, hey, we got you under contract. We pay you all this fucking money, like,
You're gonna rot and die with us.
pretty much.
You're going down with the ship.
Yeah. Which is honestly why I was, like, happy for Stafford when he managed to get out, because the old Lions would have just been like, no, you're our quarterback. You're staying here forever.
Yeah.
And they enabled him to fucking get out and get a Super Bowl with the Rams.
They got the last laugh though, didn't they? Sent Stafford's Rams home from the playoffs last year, didn't they?
Yeah.
So
But even then, I'll do anything for 1 year to win a Super Bowl. So, like, to me, like, the Rams got their money's worth the moment they hoisted
Yeah.
that trophy. So anything after that is, like, just fucking gravy, But yeah, I don't know. I think I gotta wrap it up, though. I gotta go.
hey, you never wrap it up.
That's true. I can't pull out of a parking spot.
Well, on that note, thanks for joining us for episode 20.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe.
Thanks, guys.
See ya.